Hi everyone, so let's talk about the testing, and here in this video we are going to talk about the testing of services when services are dependent on external interface or third-party library or a third-party storage service. So consider these examples. Your NestJS service can be simply depend on a TypeORM repository, a Mongoose model or a Prisma model. Some kind of a repository system like a Prisma client will be injected in your NestJS service, and you will be doing all the different operations, or TypeORM repository will be injected and your NestJS service will be dealing with the data. External interface, let's say you are calling an external HTTP interface, right? There is a HTTP call you are making from your service, right? So this is an NestJS service and it is further calling an external HTTP interface. Then how this testing will work, right? Because you need to mock the HTTP service, which is helping us to make the call. NestJS provide HTTP client, which can make HTTP external call using observables and RX library. Third-party service, let's say you are doing, you have an access to, let's say, Twitter API, where you are passing a client ID and a secret, passing the Twitter client ID and secret ID, and it will be accessing the Twitter interface, right? So I can create a mock version of this, and I can just, so I have to write a Twitter mock service also, write the test cases for the Twitter service also. And when I'm writing a test cases for this, I need to write a mock implementation of this third-party Twitter service. Similarly, we can have a external storage service like a Redis, Elasticsearch, or anything. We just need to write a mock version of those services so we can write a test. So it's all about mocking. So first we will take a look onto this HTTP call, and then how we can write the test cases for the TypeORM repositories. So we have divided this this section into two videos, actually part 1 and part 2. In part 1, we are going to just talk about how we can mock HTTP service. Let's say you are writing a controller and you are writing a service, and that is calling an external HTTP endpoints. Okay, then how can you mock the HTTP service? And the next thing is, how can we use the create mock and auto mock? These are the new utilities which you can use, where you don't need to worry about mocking the actual HTTP service. So even all your dependencies which you have in service can be auto mocked using create mock utility. This is my cat service. You can see what it is doing. I have a dependency injection of HTTP service, which is coming from HTTP module. Here you can see NestJS Axios. This is HTTP service is coming from there. And the important thing, in the NestJS, it is not promise based, it is observable based. So here you can see http.post. What it returns the observable of Axios response. Similarly, get, so you need to actually subscribe it. Here we are just returning the .pipe. We are just returning the observable stream from all these methods. And what we are doing in these methods, we are calling the HTTP interface. So now let's see how we can mock the HTTP service and test all these methods. So we are testing a cat service. So here we will write a before each block, that is a sync block, because it will be creating a NestJS testing module. And inside this, we will just create a const module equal to await test dot create testing module. And in this we pass the dependencies like, okay, what are the providers? So provider, here we have a cat service, and inside this we will say, so these are the list of providers. The first provider is a cat service, and here we will override the implementation, provide HTTP service. So inside cat service we have HTTP service, and we are going to mock it. So we'll just say use value, and inside use value we can mock all the methods. So what all methods we have? Get, put, post, fetch, delete, all the Axios methods which we see. right? And here we can get the instance of service. Here we need to compile it, dot call compile, so we can get the module instance, and here we can get the service equal to module dot get service. So we got the get service instance and HTTP service also, that we can get using module dot get HTTP service. Okay, we got the instance. Now we can just write assertions for it. Okay, the service is defined. The basic assertions we can add here, that service is defined. Even we can also check the HTTP service is defined. First test, and now here we will start doing the mocking. What we are going to test? We are going to test the create method, find all method, or get method. Let's say if I try to call this particular method find all, what it is returning? It is returning I need to mock this HTTP service get method, and I need to return the multiple cat, and then I need to compare the result with the outcome from the mock. So let's do that inside our service spec. Here we will first define the array which we are expecting. So let's check the find all method. So find all method means first we are just saying, okay, this is the data which we will be receiving. Const data of type tcat. This is the model, and this is an array, and inside we have just a few properties inside an object. Okay, this is the cat which I want to receive in my mock. This is an array, and here Axios response we will mock. Axios response of tcat array. Okay, and this response looks like, I mean, how the Axios response looks like. It contains the data, headers, config, right? If you can see the type also, it contains data, status text, headers, config. Now I can do the mock on Axios method, just.spy on. This is how we have done till now. HTTP service. So we are spying on this particular method get, and we are saying dot mock return value. Mock return value. And here we are saying is what return values we should get. Now it's important. Find all. What it is returning? It is returning observable of cat array, right? So we also need to return the observable data. Why it is complaining? Mock return value. Okay, it is there. Now it expects an argument, and we will provide it. So it should be an observable, right? So we can use of operator from Rx. It actually converts the data into an observable, and in this data we have this data property, which is, let's say we are passing this object and expecting that, okay, this is the mock data which we will receive. Argument of observable is not assigned to unknown any. Let's check this, and here we also need to pass the headers. So this is the data, then we have headers. Let me see what it is expecting. So this is HTTP service get, right? Mock return value, it should return this data. The closing brackets were not proper, just.spy on get and mock return value. This is the data which we are returning. That means this is the observable data which you are returning. And inside this, if you go to service, what are we doing? We are accessing the response.data, and we are mocking the whole response which we are getting. So your data property should contain that cat array. Now we have the actual data, and we also did a spy on. So now we can just do service.findAll. This service method we are going to call, On this service, we already have a find all method, dot find all subscribe, and we can compare, because find all in actual sense is giving an observable stream, and find all is calling http service.get, which we have already mocked, which is giving us the observable stream, this stream, and this data contains already that cat array, which is already same as this mock value. So we are just comparing the response.data coming from the observable stream. So now we can do the same thing for the another method, like find one. I need to just, I hope I could have a more bigger screen so I can show the whole code, because I always need to minimize things. It should return all cat, it should return cat by ID. One cat by ID, because there is a find method we are calling, and this is the method find one, right? So that is also calling get. This is also calling get. Here it is returning array, here it is returning a single cat, because here it is calling cat by ID. So the code here is, it is calling find one subscribe. So inside this service find one, we need to pass the ID, like, okay, what is the ID we are passing? So we can, because it's just all mock, and it is going to return this data as an object, and the same we can have in the mock. It's just an object. This is the mock data, and it is giving us the data, and this is tcat, simply an object. We are spying on this, right? Now that is simple, right? We are just doing a find one again, calling http service get, which we have already mocked, and it is giving us the data like this. And in the final response, if you see find one, we are also returning response.data, so we can compare the same, like response would be equal to the response.data. So this is the find one. Similarly, should return a new cat when you are creating it. So we can mock the post method, http service.post, and we can check if it is returning the correct data or not. So here I'm running the test and it looks fine. We are able to pass the test. Now let's try one more test, and then we will move to the create mock utility. So here let's try the create. So this is the cat object, this is the cat DTO, this is the response we are expecting. So here we need to mock the post method, xgeos.post, mock return value. So here what we can do is, we already have a mock payload, so we can just do is of observable of this response. This is what http service.post will return, and now we can call this method service.create. Here we are doing spy on, first to prepare the mock data and then do the mock, and then trigger the actual method create. So in the create we have to pass the create cat DTO, and we are subscribing to it. So if you see this create method, what we are doing, we are piping and then we are getting the response back. Same thing we can check here. So here we can subscribe and we can compare. That's it. So this is how we can actually mock the HTTP service. Now let's take a look on the part 2 in the next video.